on that hook. You know, they put us in this impossible position by suggesting to us that we should develop unconditional love. Forget it, because it's not possible for a person. And I can't remember if it was on Friday night or yesterday, I told the story of the tortured Buddhist. You know, so this is a fake story from a fake sutra, which has nothing to do with the Buddha himself, as far as we know. I'm not a scholar, but as far as we know, you know, it's just a way for one bloody sect to try to prove that they're more virtuous than another bloody sect, because you always get these fights going on, even within Buddhism. It's a bit disappointing, but there you go. If there's a Buddhist sect that allows the eating of chicken, because that's all there is to eat, you can be sure that within about half a minute there's going to be another Buddhist sect condemning it. So that's what seemed to have happened here, you know, kind of competitive, we're more virtuous than you are. And so this sutra was cooked up in which the Buddha is telling his disciples, you know, if you are being tortured, literally tortured, you must not have a single angry thought towards your torturers. And if you have a single angry thought to your torturers, then you are not a disciple of mine. Mm-hmm. Well, what a load of baloney, excuse me. Talk about a way of setting up a huge cudgel to beat yourself up. Never have an angry thought. Mm-hmm. You know, you'll never be short of something to do if you buy into that belief that you should never have an angry thought. You've given yourself a job for life now called suppressing angry thoughts. Mm-hmm. The more you suppress them, the stronger they'll get. So you really do have a job for life. Where did we start with this? I've completely lost the track of where we're going with this. What did this start with? I know it was going somewhere.
A minute ago, what was the relationship between unconditional love and what people mean when they say love?
Love is simply seen impersonally to be the nature of, if you like, of everything. It's the fullness out of which everything, this is unconditional love. This is the outpouring of unconditional love. What can the mind make of that? I have no idea. This mind can't make anything out of it. All I can say is that is seen. You know, when fullness is seen, it's seen that there is only unconditional love. And the mind just hates that. You know, the mind is now going to start saying, what about war? What about suffering? What about pain? There's no answer that the mind can give to that. Well, there's no answer that can be given to that can satisfy the mind, because the only answer that can be given from here is a very apologetic, I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. Well, that's obviously not going to satisfy the mind. The mind might be able to bring a little bit of logic to bear on this, because think about unconditional love. Well, as soon as there is any exclusion from that, it's not unconditional. You know, so as soon as the mind says, well, I don't like this, so it's not included in love, then it's not unconditional. Just think about what it means. So unconditional love has to embrace not just everything the mind likes, but also everything the mind dislikes. Otherwise, we're straight back into duality. All is one. Everything is one, except that little bit over there that I don't like.
Yes.
So there you have duality. You've got all is one plus something else. Who ordered the bell ringers?
No one.
No one.
One of the nobodies here.
You know the ancient description of this as Satchitananda, as energy. Well, it can be translated in all sorts of different ways. Because for my own purposes, I will translate that as energy, consciousness, love. There is only one, and the nature of one is three: energy, consciousness, and love. Well, let's not puzzle about the three in one, which begins to sound like the Holy Trinity. The only reason I mention that is because I want to suggest to you that for most minds, energy is not a problem. Consciousness is not a problem. It's kind of obvious that there is energy, and it's kind of obvious that there is consciousness. They're not two different things, because if they were, we'd be back in duality. You could, if you like, just say they are different characteristics of the same thing, but even that's misleading. It doesn't matter. All I'm suggesting to you is that, to hear that there is energy is not a problem for most of us. To hear that there is consciousness is not a problem for most of us, because those two things are bleeding obvious. It is obvious that there's energy. It is obvious that there's consciousness. But the third one, that's not so obvious. That's the one that the mind wrestles with. Not so obvious that there's only love. And that's because the mind is, if you like, this is a metaphor, it's because the mind is a machine for splitting, for differentiating, for splitting the world up. And one of the main ways the mind does that is through like, dislike. Approval, disapproval, good, bad, virtue, vice, God, Satan, and on it goes. No good, no bad, no God, no Satan, just unconditional love.